I'm MaureenEdgar, and I'm a Loretto Associate from Toronto, Canada. I'm an educator, and I've worked in the areas of organization development and community development for many, many years. And I'm very committed to the issues that we're talking about today. I'm going to talk about Development Goals 10, 11, and 12. And you'll hear when I speak about them that there's a lot of repetition of some of the issues that other speakers have raised today. Goal 10 promises to reduce inequality within and among countries. It's sadly evident that poverty and income inequality continue to rise throughout the world. Today, the richest 10% of the world's population earn up to 40% of global income, while the poorest 10% earn only between 2 and 7%. Strategies for this goal promote social, economic, and political inclusion for everyone, regardless of sex, race, or ethnicity. Countries are committed to developing policies and laws to ensure equal opportunity in areas such as education and employment, which, if enacted, could be key to lifting people out of poverty. On a macro level, there are strategies to improve the regulation and monitoring of global financial institutions, certainly not an easy task, and to give developing countries a greater voice in the decision-making of these institutions. Underlying all the strategies is the principle that developing countries, like vulnerable individuals, need special and differential treatment to achieve greater equity. One of Goal 10's most challenging strategies is to facilitate the orderly and safe migration of people through well-planned and managed migration policies. As we've all seen in recent months, the huge difficulties in managing the current refugee crisis dramatically highlight the level of global commitment and coordination that we'll need to have to achieve this. Goal 10 also speaks to me on a personal level. Although I live in Canada, a country proud of its human rights legislation and its commitment to equity, many of our Indigenous people still live without adequate sanitation, housing, education, and safe drinking water. Goal 11 promises to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Today, more than half of the world's population lives in urban areas, and by 2050, that number will have risen to 2/3 of humanity. This goal is about building and managing our urban spaces in ways that promote and create sustainable development. Its strategies aim to ensure that by 2030, there will be access for everyone, particularly those most vulnerable, to adequate, safe, and affordable housing, to safe and inclusive public green spaces, and to safe, accessible, and affordable public transit. At national and regional levels, strategies encourage the adoption of integrated policies and plans for managing water, land, and other resources. Others focus on managing disasters and climate change in holistic ways that build local capacity. For me, a key strategy is to support developing countries through financial and technical assistance in building sustainable and resilient buildings using local materials. Experience shows that using local and unprocessed materials minimizes transportation costs, energy usage, and environmental impact, and keeps more money in local communities. I know South Africa has done some very interesting work in terms of this. Goal 12, the final one I will speak to, promises to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. This goal urges us all to reduce our ecological footprint by changing how we produce and consume goods and resources. Today, one of the most critical global issues is our use of water, particularly in agriculture, which claims close to 70% of all fresh water appropriated for human use on the planet. Goal 12's other strategies target the disposal of toxic waste and pollutants and the recycling and reduction of waste at all levels, key to our health and survival. One strategy that really struck me was aimed at cutting in half per capita global food waste by 2030. In 2009, the UN estimates that 32% of all food produced in the world was lost or wasted. Given that a large part of the world's population doesn't consume enough food to meet even its most basic needs, this statistic is truly shocking. Meeting this ambitious target will not only boost food security, but will also improve people's livelihoods, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and save land and water. To me, it's evident that curbing food waste is both a goal in itself and a means of achieving other development goals. Thank you.